Alright, here's a video me trying to make a portrait style like rig setup. This is like the first time me trying to do it. I always thought it was kind of pointless, but I thought it was gonna be pretty cool to build. I couldn't make up my mind if I wanted to color it black and white, but here's like a quick clip of black and white, and here's the base plate that I use for all my other cages. Here's like the little Arca Swiss plate I throw on the side, getting ready to throw it into portrait mode. Bam. And then slide it back in. At this point I was like realizing how annoying this build was gonna be. And then I had to just adjust my plate a little bit, put everything like so it's well balanced. Perfect, and then got everything ready to go, so it's a little better. Here's like a little side view of it, how it looks so far. And here's my my blind spot, I think that's what it's called. It's like a little battery holder where you can connect all your power. Mount that up. I'm kind of doing it from scratch. I already had it built up for my horizontal setup, but this is from scratch. And there's my top handle, how I had it before. I'm about to undo that one and throw it on the top right here. Just 2 bolts, pop those out, bam. Screw those bad boys in to the top of the cage. Perfect. So it's looking pretty good so far. Everything looks fine. There's like some wiggly points there, it's kind of annoying, but that's how it looks so far with the top handle. It looks a little top heavy kinda. And then here's with the monitor. I realized afterwards I'm mounting it how I would have it horizontal, and later on I end up trying to figure that out, how to get it sideways. So then here's all my my HDMI cables popping in. Well, just my one HDMI cable, and then trying to get it under the top handle. It's a little finicky. There we go. Wrap that around. Bam. And then here's my power source for my camera, my dummy battery. Feed that through the bottom, and then just pull it through, and then close up that little door, the little latch, whatever. Plug that in. Bam. Throw that into my USB port right there. I usually just wrap all my cables around, and this is just for me trying to test it out. Usually later on I try to get it nice and neat, but right now I was just trying to get all the settings and all the connections dialed in, make sure everything works. And then I have this leftover handle, this little ghetto handle I had laying around. Done so much crap with it, and then it was perfect on the side right here. And right there, I'm over here thinking, bam, this setup is not bad. Came out pretty good. Come on, freaking Elky. There we go. And that's it right there. Perfect. There we go. That's how it's looking so far. And then power up my camera. Perfect. I was like, oh wait, I forgot another cable. Oh, okay, let me go grab that one really quick. And then right here I ran into some trouble. I don't know what the hell was going on, and then sooner or later I ended up finding out my ass kept plugging it into the wrong place. I put it in my output for my HDMI when it's supposed to go for my input. So then I kept tearing it apart right here, trying to figure out how I can get this to be in portrait mode. And then I was trying this little phone mount thing, but it looked ugly as hell, and I just didn't end up doing it that way. And I had this little these little screws, and if anybody knows about these, they come in handy, but they're such a pain in the ass to take off afterwards. They just stay stuck and you legit have to get pliers to pull it off. So here's how it looks, kind of like a test run to see how everything's running. This is how ideally I wouldn't want it, but this is how ideally it was coming out for whatever stuff I had laying around to mount it up and get it ready to go. This would have been perfect if this dumb monitor had another mount on the side and I could have just mounted it like that, but it was only on the bottom. But that's how it looks so far. Super ugly, not gonna lie. And then I tried with the hot shoe, and it kind of worked, but like I said, it looks like a Frankenstein build. I did not like it, and I'm trying to convince myself I can make this a little better, but there's no way. And then I put the handle on the other side and it gets in the way of the door latch now, so that's annoying. And the camera just felt unbalanced and I couldn't take it, and I was like, at this point I felt like this build was kind of pointless, just for making a camera to be for portraits or like reels. And then I threw my 14 on to see how it would look, but I still feel like this build was kind of pointless. It was just way too finicky, you know. In the end, I ended up figuring out what I wanted to do instead, you know, and I don't know what was up with this damn monitor. It was just stretching for some weird reason, but it was still pretty weird the way it ended up coming out. I didn't like it that much. And I'm over here, oh yeah, it looks good. Yeah, right. So I ended up taking it all apart, took everything off, and then here's without no monitor, which still is kind of pointless. I like my handle on the right side. It's a little bit more even. That's the way I hold my camera, and most cameras are like that. But it gets in the way in the door latch, so I was like, alright, this is dumb. So I took it all apart and then ended up just taking everything off and see how the handle just fit alone with just the cage. So I took everything off, then put the handle back on where it's at, maybe a little bit lower in the angle so I could still get to the bottom of the door to get to the battery and the SD card. And in the end, it was just better with not even being rigged up. And usually some things, they're not meant to be built up, you know. Sometimes simple and small is better. Obviously this setup wouldn't last all day, you know, not rigged up with the battery attached to an NPF battery, and with the monitor, yeah, it makes things a little bit more handier, but in the end I think it's better just to have a simple setup, you know. And this is just for BTS anyway, so it's not like you need anything else to just keep your focus or anything like that with your monitor to be looking at. So this is better than anything else to be having like a little small real portrait style video camera. And that's it. It looks cleaner that way anyways.